Alright guys, so today we're going to start division. So the first thing I want you to do is make sure you have a title. So as we did on our last video, you're going to have your title as division for this one. And the first couple things I want you to write down are going to be the steps to dividing. So we're going to start off with a little acronym. So we're going to use D. I'm going to color that in a little bit. Okay, D, M, S, B. Okay, so we have DMSB, and that is going to stand for Daddy, Mother, Sister, Brother. And this is just to kind of help you remember the steps to dividing. Okay, so we have the D here, the M, S, B. Daddy, mother, sister, brother. Okay, and the D here is going to stand for divide. So as you know, the first step to dividing is we're going to take the first number and we're going to divide. Our next step is going to be to multiply, and I'll show you that here in a minute. We're going to then subtract, and then B is going to be bring down. Feel free to color code your notes as I do. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. So daddy, mother, sister, brother, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. That's what you need to have right now. Okay, and so this video we're going to just do kind of level 1 and level 2 work. Alright? So the first thing I'm going to have you do is we're going to divide 9 into 63. So we're just starting with our first step, divide. So how many times can we divide 9 into 6? If you were to ask yourself this, you can't. You cannot put a group of 9 into 6. So we're going to put an X. You could put a 0 if you'd like, but I'm going to put an X to symbolize that. So now I need to ask myself, how many times does 9 go into to 63? So here is where, if you don't know already, you need to know your multiplication tables, but you can just go ahead and write them down. So we're going to do our multiplication table of the divisor, which is 9 to the right. So 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5, 45. 9 times 6 is equal to 54. And 9 times 7 is equal to 63. So if for any reason you don't know these by heart, you can always come over to the side and you can try working it out. So 9 times 7 is 63, and so that is my winner. So 9 times 7 is going to give me 63. And here's where I'm multiplying. So we divided 9 into 63. That gave us 7. And then we're going to multiply as our second step. 9 times 7 is 63. And now we need to subtract. So we take our subtraction symbol and put that there. 63 minus 63 is obviously going to give us 0. Here, if we had any more numbers over here, we would bring them down. But we don't, so we're left with 7. And that's our number. Okay. All right, moving on. So that was number 1, and here's number 2. Okay, so these, right now we are working with 1-digit divisors. So 4 into, let's see, let's do 4 into, I want to do something kind of simple. 1460. Okay, so 1460. We're going to take this 4 and ask ourselves, how many times does it go into 14? I'm sorry, actually, let's go with our first digit, which is 1. I don't want to forget that. How many times could 4 go into 1? Well, I cannot make a group of 4 because I don't have enough, so I need to have an X there. Now we're going to ask, how many times does 4 go into 14? Should have said 3, because 4 times 3 is going to give me 12. So far, I've divided 4 into 14, and then I multiplied 4 times 3, and that gave me the 12. Now I'm going to subtract, as my next step would tell me to do. 14 minus 2 is going to give me 2. Now, from here, I need to bring down my numbers. So I'm looking here, I need to bring down my 6. I'm going to draw my arrow and bring down my 6. Now, 4, how many times does that go into 26? Well, if for any reason you feel like I don't understand what you're saying by how many times does it go into, you would try to make a group. So how many groups can I fit into 26? 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes a group. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes another group. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes a third group. Currently I have 4, 8, 12. So I need to keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. I now have 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. I now have 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4 strikes is going to give me 20. So I can keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have 6 total groups. So I'm going to add that here, because I know in my head that I can't do another set, because 4 times 6 is going to give me 24. 4 times 6 will give me 24. Now I can subtract that, and that's going to leave me 6 minus 4 is going to leave me with 2. Now that I've subtracted, I can bring down. So I'm going to bring down my 0 all the way down, and I'm going to put it here. So 4 can go into 20 5 times. 4 times 5 multiply together will give me 20, and I'm going to subtract. 0 minus 0 gives me 0, and 2 minus 2 will give me 0. So now I have nothing left over, so I end up with 365. That's my answer. Okay, last one, number 3. We're going to take 5 and put it into 5,250. Okay, it's a little bit of a, it's kind of easy because it's by 5s. So we're going to take 5 and ask ourselves, how many times does it fit into 5? We can make one group of 5. Now I'm going to ask myself, does 5 times 1 give me 5? Yes, it does. So we're going to subtract. 5 minus 5 is going to give me 0. Now I'm going to bring down my 2. How many times can 5 go into 2? It can't go into 2 at all because we don't have enough. So in this case, instead of putting an X at the top, I'm going to put a 0, because 5 can't go into 2. It goes 0 times, so we're going to put a 0. So now I do 5 times 0 is equal to 0, and we're going to subtract. Okay, we're just going back through our divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. So we're at the point where we multiplied 5 times 0. We put our goose egg down here. 2 minus 0 will give me 2. And I'm going to bring down. Add my 5 here. How many times does 5 go into 25? It goes 5 times. 5 times 5 gives me 25. And subtract. 0, 0. Okay, and now I'm going to bring down 0 all the way down to the bottom. How many times does 5 go into 0? 0 times. I'm going to add my 0 at the top. And 5 times 0 gives me 0. This part is actually redundant. You don't really need to do it, but just so that you're staying consistent with your steps, you can add your 0, subtract it to show you that nothing is left over. And so here is good practice to go ahead and put your decimal when you're finished, so you know that this right here is a complete whole number. 1,050. That's my answer. Okay, so for my guys, if you have any questions on this, you can go to your comment box in the Classroom Culture website and just leave me a question or a comment on something you didn't understand, or if you like this video, you can add that there as well. All right, thanks guys.